Shedeur Sanders is officially starting, and the Browns fan base is already split down the middle like it's election night. This isn't just another quarterback rotation. This is a full-blown pivot that's got Cleveland media buzzing, national commentators chiming in, and social media lit like a bonfire. The controversy didn't begin when the decision was announced. It exploded the second Sanders' name started trending. The franchise didn't just make a change. They pressed a red button. Joe Flacco's brief redemption arc has collapsed into the same brick wall he's hit before. A body that can't keep up and a game plan that leaves him exposed.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Dillon Gabriel, meanwhile, looked like a panic pick. His flashes of potential quickly drowned under pressure, and whatever spark he brought to the offense barely lasted long enough for one full possession. In that wreckage, the Browns' leadership did what they always do, made a big, risky move with all eyes on them. And this time, the gamble is Shedeur Sanders. The hype machine surrounding Sanders is operating at full volume. His poise, his confidence, the way he carries himself like someone who's already written the ending, it's magnetic. He hasn't thrown a single pass in a real NFL game, but insiders are calling him the face of a new era. Fans want him to be the savior. The front office needs him to be the savior. And no one pretending this is a smooth transition. It's a high-stakes spectacle Cleveland has mastered all too well. But under all the buzz is a cold, recurring truth. The Browns never had a plan. Their quarterback room has been a turnstile of trial and error. And this latest move doesn't scream strategy. It screams last resort. The offense has been non-functional. The culture is frayed. The fan base? Done with experiments. And in comes Shedeur, being sold not just as a player, but as a transformation. Cleveland's management has a long history of selling hope before it's ready. The chaos isn't accidental. It's part of the blueprint. From Flacco's nostalgic run to Gabriel's premature promotion, every decision has felt reactionary. This isn't development. It's damage control. But in spite of it all, Sanders might actually be the rare exception. The timing may be messy, the rollout may be reckless, but the potential? It's real. And if he delivers, the Browns circus might finally have found its ringmaster. The Cleveland Browns just hit the panic button, and they hit it with both fists. In a move that's blown the lid off an already boiling quarterback controversy, the team has named Shedeur Sanders their starting quarterback. Yes, that's Shedeur Sanders. And no, this wasn't part of some calculated master plan. It was born from chaos, pressure, and a level of dysfunction that has become disturbingly familiar in Cleveland. Let's not sugarcoat what's happening here. The Browns are once again neck-deep in quarterback drama. They've gone from veteran fallback Joe Flacco to unsteady rookie Dillon Gabriel, and now they're betting it all on a confident and proven headline magnet of a quarterback who hasn't played a single NFL snap. The decision has sparked a tidal wave of outrage, speculation, and, for some fans, reluctant optimism, because once again, Cleveland is starting over. But this time it feels different. The team didn't just switch quarterbacks. They set off a franchise-level reset. This whole thing started the way it always does for the Browns, with a plan that unraveled faster than the offense on 3rd and long. Joe Flacco was supposed to be the calm veteran presence, the safe hands, the guy who could buy the Browns time while they figured out who their real starter would be. Instead, Flacco's performance is a masterclass in mediocrity. Late throws, slow reads, and zero spark. And it wasn't just the stats. It was the energy. The offense was lifeless. The fans were restless. And the team looked like it was sleepwalking into irrelevance. Then came Dillon Gabriel. Young, mobile, and full of potential. The kind of QB you want to develop. Not throw into the fire midseason. But Cleveland, being Cleveland, threw him in anyway. And the result? More underwhelming offense. More mistakes. More confusion. The booing at home games wasn't just frustration. It was exhaustion. Browns fans have seen this movie before. Too many times. A revolving door quarterbacks, each one hyped as a savior, only to end up buried in the depth chart or shipped out quietly. That's when the Shedeur Sanders noise really started. Fans wanted him. The media pushed for him. And the Browns, once again backed into a corner of their own creation, made the move. Now here we are. Shedeur Sanders is the starter. The experiment begins, live, under the brightest lights, with every eye in the league watching. The controversy around this decision isn't just about who's under center. It's about how Cleveland operates. There's no long-term strategy. There's no consistency. There's just a cycle of dysfunction that resets every time things go sideways. And that's why this move feels so volatile. Shedeur isn't stepping into a stable system. He's entering a franchise defined by its instability. A team that spent the last 2 decades gambling on quick fixes, burning through talent, and sabotaging its own rebuilds. The coaching staff? Still trying to figure out what they are. The front office? Criticized for chasing headlines instead of building a coherent roster. The culture? Fractured, chaotic, and desperate for leadership. And yet, in the middle of this mess, Shedeur Sanders is walking in like he owns the place. That's the wild card here, because no one doubts his confidence. From his college days to the preseason spotlight, Shedeur has made it clear he believes he's a guy. He carries himself like a starter. He plays with poise. He embraces the attention. He knows the narrative, and he's not afraid of it. But this isn't college anymore. This isn't Boulder. This is Cleveland, a city star for football success, battered by decades of failure, and tired of being the butt of every NFL joke. And now Shedeur is being positioned as the one who might change that. That's not just pressure. That's a legacy hanging in the balance. The hype is already off the charts. Pundits are calling it inevitable. Insiders say the team had no choice. Social media is flooded with takes. Some are all in, others are bracing for impact. Because this isn't just about football, it's about identity. Cleveland has been chasing its football soul since 1999. A revolving door of quarterbacks, constant management turnover, botched draft picks. Every time the team shows promise, it collapses under its own weight. Fans have been through enough heartbreak to last a lifetime. They don't want another hype cycle. They want something real. And that's what makes Shedeur's debut so high stakes. He's not just a quarterback. He's a test. A test of whether this franchise can finally develop talent instead of destroying it. A test of whether leadership exists beyond the headset. A test of whether the Browns can finally stop being their own worst enemy. The spotlight isn't on Shedeur alone. It's on the Browns' entire infrastructure. Because if they mishandle this, and history says they might, it won't just be another lost season. It'll be a sign that this franchise isn't ready to evolve. That even when given a promising player with the potential to lead, they still can't build around him. But if it works, if Shedeur shows up, makes plays, commands the huddle, and actually stabilizes the offense, Cleveland's narrative flips overnight. Suddenly, the Browns have a face of the franchise. Suddenly, there's swagger, confidence, hope. Not the kind sold in preseason pressers, but the kind that shows up on Sundays and makes plays under pressure. And make no mistake, Shedeur has the tools. He's sharp, confident, unshaken. He's played under pressure before. He's faced scrutiny. He's not walking into Cleveland with wide eyes. He's walking in like he's been waiting for this. But that swagger only goes so far the support isn't there. And that's where the Browns need to step up. Because this can't be another reckless experiment. It can't be another stunt. It can't be another case of a young quarterback being fed to the wolves because the people in charge didn't do their jobs. This has to be a shift away from chaos, a shift toward building something real. It starts with protecting him. It continues with smart play calling. It depends on creating an environment where Sanders can thrive, not just survive. The Browns have made the move. Now they have to commit. Fully, unconditionally, no hedging, no second-guessing, no scapegoating. If they're going to ride with Shedeur, they have to ride with him. Because this isn't just about trying to win a few games. It's about rebuilding trust with the fans, with the locker room, with the future. And for once, Cleveland has a chance. A real chance to stop being a punchline and start being a problem. For other teams, not for themselves. The next few weeks will say everything. About Shedeur, about this coaching staff, about what kind of franchise the Browns really want to be. Is this another chapter in the saga of dysfunction, or the start of a new era? We're about to find out. So what do you think? Is Shedeur the spark Cleveland's been waiting for, or just the latest name on the jersey of broken dreams? Let us know in the comments. And if you're here for the drama, the breakthroughs, or the breakdowns, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because with the Browns, you never know what's coming next. The story of Shedeur Sanders starting for the Cleveland Browns isn't just about talent. It's not just about hype potential or preseason highlights. It's about something way deeper. It's about a city of fan base and a team standing at yet another crossroads. And this time, the stakes feel heavier than ever. Let's be real. This is more than a quarterback change. This is the Browns putting all their chips on one card. Again, but this time the spotlight is 10 times brighter. The pressure is thicker, and the expectations are sky high. Why? Because this time it's Shedeur Sanders. And no one in that building or watching from home can pretend this is just business as usual. When you bench a veteran like Joe Flacco, who, yes, underperformed but at least brought some experience. For a rookie who's never taken a regular season NFL snap, you're doing more than making a football decision. You're making a statement. You're telling the locker room, the media, the entire city. We're done waiting. We're done pretending. We're going all in on this kid. And that statement? It's risky. Extremely risky. Because if this fails, if Shedeur crumbles under the weight of the moment, if the offense stays broken, if the locker room doesn't rally, it's not just another QB controversy. It's a franchise-defining mess. One that reinforces every negative thing people say about the Browns. That they're impulsive, that they chase headlines, that they've learned nothing from 2 decades of dysfunction. But here's where it gets complicated. Shedeur doesn't feel like a reckless decision. Yes, the timing is chaotic. Yes, the organization still reeks of instability. But he feels steady, focused, like someone who actually wants this challenge. And that's what's throwing everyone off. Because most rookies come in wide-eyed, asking for time. Shedeur? He's been walking around like this job was his the whole time. There's no deer-in-the-headlights energy. No false humility. He's calm. He's confident. And whether that rubs people the wrong way or not, it's exactly what this moment requires. Because right now, Cleveland doesn't need another maybe. They don't need a project. They don't need a placeholder. They need a presence. They need someone who can walk into a chaotic locker room, stand in front of the huddle, and take command. And based on everything we've seen and heard, that's exactly what Shedeur is doing. But here's the catch. Confidence doesn't win games. Swagger doesn't fix broken offensive lines. Calm doesn't complete third and eights when the blitz is coming. Shedeur's mindset is a huge asset, but he's still stepping into a team that's been underperforming in almost every category. The offense isn't just bad, it's broken. Timing's off. Protection is shaky. The playbook looks like it was designed for a team that doesn't exist anymore. Wide outs are out of sync. The rhythm is gone. The execution is worse. And now a rookie is expected to step in and flip the script? That's not just asking a lot. It's setting up a high-wire act with no safety net. If he succeeds, it's a miracle. If he fails, he's another name on a long list of promising quarterbacks who couldn't survive Cleveland. And let's talk about that list. Because this is where it gets hard to ignore history. This franchise has made an art form out of eating its young. Rookie QBs don't get time to develop here. They get thrown in, picked apart, chewed up, and moved on from. It's happened over and over. And the damage it's done to the team, to the fan base, to the reputation, is immeasurable. So the fear is real. Fans want to believe in Shedeur. They want to finally have a quarterback they can grow with, not cycle through. But they've been burned, over and over. And now, it's hard to know if this is another false dawn or the real thing. That's what makes this moment so tense. So electric, because it could be the turning point. It could be the moment the Browns finally break the cycle. Finally show they're capable of building around a player, instead of just reacting to whatever drama pops up each week. But that's only going to happen if the people around Shedeur get it together. The coaches, the line, the receivers, the play callers. Because let's be honest, this can't be a solo mission. Shedeur is stepping into a high-pressure role, with every mistake ready to be dissected in real time. And the only way he survives is that the team gives him a chance to succeed. That means protection. That means smart calls. That means patience. And most importantly, that means commitment. No more quarterback roulette. No more musical chairs at the position. If you're putting Shedeur in now, you're saying this is a short-term fix. You're saying this is the guy. So treat him like it. Give him the time. Give him the tools. Build the system around him, not the other way around. Because if they do, if they actually build something sustainable, the Browns might have something they haven't had in years. A future. Not a gimmick. Not a temporary sugar high. A real quarterback to grow with, build with, win with. That's what's on the line here. And it's bigger than one game. It's bigger than one season. It's about identity. Because for too long, the Browns have had no identity. Just chaos, panic, hope wrapped in dysfunction. And now, they finally have a chance to change that. Shedeur Sanders doesn't guarantee success. No one does. But what he does bring is a shot. A real, legitimate shot to reset this team's culture. And that opportunity? It doesn't come around often. So the Browns better not waste it. Because if they do, it's not just another loss. It's another scar on a franchise that's running out of clean skin. The question now is simple. Will Shedeur Sanders be the turning point or the latest chapter in the Browns' never-ending saga of mismanagement? We're about to find out. On the field. In front of everyone. And however it goes, it's going to be loud. What's your verdict? Hope or hype? Is Shedeur the real deal, or is Cleveland setting him up for failure? Sound off in the comments, and let us know where you stand. And if you're here for the drama, the meltdowns, or the miracles, hit that subscribe button. Because this story isn't over. It's just getting started. Let's get one thing straight. The Shedeur Sanders era isn't just beginning in Cleveland. It's being launched like a fireworks finale in the middle of a thunderstorm. Loud, risky, and very, very public. This isn't a quiet transition. This isn't a preseason decision that got time to simmer. This is the Browns throwing a rookie quarterback into the eye of a storm they created, and then stepping back like, let's see what happens. It's bold. It's chaotic. It's so Cleveland. And while fans argue over whether it's too soon or just in time or 5 weeks too late, one truth is unavoidable. This move is now the centerpiece of the Brown season. Every storyline from here on out, every win, every loss, every sideline meltdown is going to orbit around Shedeur Sanders. And not because he asked for it, but because this team has no other identity left. Let's go back for a second. This was supposed to be a season of stabilization, a bridge year, maybe a time for the Browns to regroup, patch the holes, and figure out what kind of offense they actually wanted to be. But instead of progress, we got confusion. A veteran quarterback in Joe Flacco who looked like he was throwing underwater. An offense run by Dylan Gabriel that seemed allergic to rhythm. A coaching staff that kept playing musical chairs with schemes, but never once landed on the right tune. It wasn't just bad football, it was uninspired. And in Cleveland, uninspired is worse than losing. So the fan base did what fan bases do. They snapped. They flooded call-in shows, lit up social media, booed at home games. Not just because the team was losing, but because it felt like nobody had a plan. Because it felt like, yet again, Cleveland was just surviving the season, not building anything. And that's when the names started circling louder than ever. Shedeur. The calls weren't just about wanting to see the rookie. They were about wanting hope. Something different. Something that didn't feel like a retread of the same busted strategy they watched collapse year after year. The pressure grew. The heat turned up. And eventually, the Browns blinked. They made the call. They handed Shedeur Sanders the job. And now, there's no turning back. And let's be clear, this isn't just a fan fuel hype train. There's real reason to be excited about Shedeur. He's shown flashes in preseason. His mechanics are solid. His leadership, already turning heads. He's poised, smart, and carries himself with that rare mix of self-belief and maturity that doesn't look like a 21-year-old rookie out of his depth. He has what the Browns haven't had under center in years. Presence. But talent and presence aren't the whole story. Because as promising as Shedeur is, the environment around him still looks questionable. And that's where this gets dangerous. Because if we've learned anything from watching the Browns over the past 2 decades, it's that no quarterback, not even a good one, can succeed in Cleveland unless the entire system supports them. And right now, that system is shaky at best. The offensive line has been inconsistent. Play calling? All over the place. The receivers are hit or miss. The team's identity on offense shifts week to week. Are they ground and pound? Are they air it out? Nobody really knows. And now, Shedeur has to figure all that out while trying to carry the weight of the franchise. It's a brutal position to be in, because if he struggles, the noise is going to be deafening. The media is already frothing at the mouth to analyze every throw, every decision, every misstep. And this isn't a fan base that handles disappointment quietly. The pressure is enormous, unfair even, but Shedeur seems like he's built for it. From day one, he's carried himself like a starter, even when he wasn't one. The interviews, the sideline demeanor, the way teammates talk about him, all paints a picture of someone who knows his moment is big and wants it anyway. That alone is a massive shift for Cleveland, because for too long, their quarterbacks have either been overwhelmed, overhyped, or underprepared. But Shedeur, he looks ready, whether the team around him is or not. And maybe that's what this is really about. Not just whether he can handle the job, but whether the organization can finally stop getting in its own way. Because Shedeur isn't the question anymore. He's the test. Can the Browns protect him? Can they build around him? Can they commit to a young quarterback for more than 10 games without bailing at the first sign of trouble? If the answer is yes, Cleveland might finally have something to build on. Something real. Something long-term. If the answer is no, then it won't matter how good Shedeur is. Because talent doesn't matter in a broken system. Swagger doesn't fix chaos. And leadership, no matter how strong, can only carry so much weight before it breaks. That's why this isn't just a story about Shedeur Sanders starting for the Browns. It's a story about whether this franchise has finally hit rock bottom and decided to climb out. Because if Shedeur succeeds, it's going to change everything. Not just the scoreboard, but the culture, the direction, the way people talk about the Browns. And in the NFL, perception matters. It influences contracts, free agency, locker room morale. When you have a quarterback that people believe in, suddenly your rebuild has traction. Your GM has support. Your fan base has patience. But that window closes fast. If the Browns flinch, if they panic, if they bench him at the first sign of growing pains, they'll burn the bridge before it even gets built. And nobody wants to see Shedeur Sanders become another chapter in Cleveland's quarterback graveyard. Not the fans. Not the league. Not the guy himself. Because this one feels different. The stage is bigger. The pressure is higher. And the energy around this move isn't about hoping for a miracle. It's about expecting change. And those expectations, they're only going to grow. Because now that he's been named the starter, Shedeur is the face of the franchise. Whether he asked for it or not, every camera will be on him. Every loss will be dissected. Every win will be turned into a redemption arc. And every single snap will carry the weight of Cleveland's past, present, and future. Welcome to the job. So, where do you stand? Is Shedeur the guy who finally flips the script, or just another talent about to be swallowed by the Cleveland chaos? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that subscribe button and stick with us. Because the Shedeur Sanders era isn't just starting. It's setting the entire league on watch.